What's going on, guys? This is Heaven Bound Music Marketing, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build your own music marketing campaign from start to finish with Meta Ads. So we're going to cover how to make the link, how to set up the tracking, how to build the campaign inside Meta Ads Manager, how to choose the audience, how to create the creatives, how to launch the ad, and how to understand if the campaign is actually working. But before we get into this tutorial, we do want to be very clear, right? Running a real music marketing campaign is not the same thing as boosting a post. So a lot of artists think they can throw $20 or $50 at an Instagram ad and suddenly get real fans, saves, playlist ads, and Spotify algorithm traction. But unfortunately, that isn't how this really works, right? The reason our campaigns work the way they do is because there is a lot of infrastructure behind them. So at Heaven Bound, we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, coming up on $1 million across music campaigns just in ad spend. That means our ad accounts, our data, our audiences, and our pixel have been trained through a massive amount of real campaign activity. And that matters, right? Meta is a machine learning system. It gets smarter based on the data you feed it. So if you are starting with a brand new ad account, a cold pixel, no previous campaign data or experience, no tested creatives, and no proven audience structure, you are not going to get the same results as an agency that has already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars testing this stuff off the bat. That's not to say that you can't do it yourself. You just need to understand the difference and set realistic expectations. Look, if you're starting from scratch, you may need to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars just to properly test creatives, warm up your pixel, figure out which audiences work, and understand what numbers are actually good. And that's before we even talk about daily management. You need to know how to read the data, when to kill an ad, when to let it keep learning, when to change the audience, when to adjust the budget, and when the campaign is getting cheap clicks but low quality listeners. So yes, the video is going to show you the basic process, but just so you know, before we get into this, the real skill is in the tracking, testing, optimization, and knowing how to turn ad traffic into real music growth. Now, with that being said, don't let that discourage you. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing that we need to do is to build the actual smart link. This is the page people land on after they click your ad. You can use platforms like Feature FM, Hyped, ToneDen, Linkfire, or really any other music platform that supports tracking. The number one platform that we recommend is going to be SubmitHub. We are not sponsored by them, but this is our favorite link system. It's the fastest. It doesn't have ads. And it is 100% free, no matter how many links you have. So you're going to go to submithub.com/links. You're going to go here to new link. You're going to click paste the Spotify URL. You're going to go to track, and then you are going to go to the Spotify song that you want to promote. You're going to click share, copy link. You're going to get that link over, and you are going to hit next. And now it's going to take you here. This is the link. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to edit. And what's super important is that we can only have Spotify. A lot of people think they should have Spotify and YouTube and Apple to give people more options, but we want Meta to only optimize for people that have Spotify, because Spotify is going to be the #1 growth engine for the algorithm and for everything else. Once you make sure that Spotify is the only link, we're going to go to this pixel section and we're going to click include a Meta pixel. You can't run ads without a pixel. Now we already have our pixel saved, but for this video's sake, I'm going to show you exactly how to get it for the first time. You're going to go to your ad account, you're going to go to Events Manager, and you're going to have to create a pixel. You're going to just click connect data, web, next, and you're going to click your pixel. Normally this only takes 30 seconds to make your own pixel, and it's a very simple process. Now once you have your pixel, you're going to have a pixel ID. All we're going to do is copy our pixel ID, and we're going to paste it here. Next, we need our Conversions API token. Now that we have our Conversions API token, we're going to paste it. This is optional, but a Conversions API token helps Meta track your clicks more accurately. Conversions API token is very easy to make. You just have to make sure that once you do make it, you write it down, because it only shows you the numbers once. Now for our custom event section, you're going to want to label this. That way you know which one it is, because if you ever run another song, you're going to want to know which click is which. So for this one, this song is called Beat the Grave. We're going to do Beat the Grave view for the page load event, which we don't need. And then we're going to do Beat the Grave click, which is the actual conversion event that we're going to be using. You have to name both so it doesn't get confusing. From there, all you're going to do is click save. Now to activate the link, you're going to want to click it and click play a couple of times. That way the signal starts sending straight to your pixel, and you can actually get it inside of the event center. I find 3 clicks to be the sweet spot. 1 or 2 sometimes doesn't cut it, but 3 clicks always does the job. We're going to go back to our event center. We're going to refresh this page here. We're going to click review events. I acknowledge. It's going to be right here. Beat the Grave click. Next. Confirm it and confirm, and that's all we have to do. Now it's totally ready to go to set up in a new campaign. It will take around 15, 20, sometimes even 30 minutes or longer to show up on your campaign, so be patient and wait 15 or 20 minutes, and then when we go to the campaign, you're going to see where we can actually find that next step. All right guys, so now that we have the conversion event set up, it's time to actually create the campaign. So you're going to click create, You're gonna go to engagement, you're gonna click continue. No, start from a new campaign. You're gonna go to manual because you can't just do Advantage and let Meta do it for you. You have to do all the settings yourself. We're gonna name this Beat the Grave with the start date. It is June 5th, 2026. Next, you're gonna go to the ad set. All right, so now that we're on the ad set, it's time to actually choose our budget. Now, this is where a lot of artists have unrealistic expectations, right? If you spend $5 a day for 3 days, that is not nearly enough data to judge a campaign accurately. Meta needs room to learn, so you need enough budget to be able to test the audiences, creatives, and so on. So for a basic test, you might start around $10 to $30 per day, but understand this, right? The money you spend early on is not just buying streams, it's buying data. You're learning which audience responds, which creative works, what your cost per conversion is, and whether people actually engage with your song after clicking. So if you're starting from scratch, you should expect a little bit of a learning curve, which is why Heavenbound has an advantage, which is why agencies have an advantage, because we've already spent all the money, tested the structures, trained the pixel, and seen what works across hundreds of our own campaigns. Now for the conversion event, you're gonna go here and you're gonna click search and you're gonna type in what we just made. Now obviously, like we said, this isn't gonna show up for another 15 or 20 minutes, but when it goes and it shows up, you're just gonna go to conversion event and you're gonna search Beat the Grave, you're gonna see Beat the Grave click, and you're gonna click it, and then it'll say Beat the Grave click as the conversion event. For now, since it hasn't showed up, we're just gonna leave that blank. Now for the daily budget, we're just gonna set this at $10 a day. For the audience, we're gonna go tier 1. Tier 2 markets are places like Mexico, Brazil, South Africa. They're cheaper, but they're not as valuable as tier 1 markets. So we're just gonna go to tier 1 markets here. You cannot use Advantage Audience. You have to use original audience settings. Using Advantage Audience will completely tank the campaign and just basically burn all of your ad spend. So we're gonna do further limit the reach of your ads. We're going to go 18 to 34. That is the best age range for any campaign. All right, guys, so next up is audience targeting. This is another part that sounds simple, but can get really complicated really fast, right? You don't want to target people who like music, right? That's too broad. That's billions of people. You want to think about who the song is actually for. So similar artists, genre, country, age range, listener behavior. For example, if this is a Christian rap song, you might test audiences around Christian rap, gospel, hip hop, Lecrae, Hovey, KB, or similar artists. But not every interest works. Some are too broad and some are too small. Some get cheap clicks, but weak listeners. That is why you test. You may need multiple audience angles to find the pocket that actually responds. One audience might get the cheapest clicks, another might get better saves, another might produce more followers. The best campaign is not always the one with the lowest click cost. The best campaign is the one bringing in the highest quality listeners. For this campaign, it's an indie alternative rock song, so we're gonna go alternative rock, indie rock, and must match Spotify. If this was a Christian rap song that you had a really hard drill beat, you might do a gym creative or a gym ad set where this would say drill rap, hip hop, and must match bodybuilding and powerlifting, and must match Spotify. The most important thing is that it's who it's for and must match Spotify to make sure that whoever's seeing this ad has Spotify. For placements, super important, you cannot use Advantage placements or it will burn all of your ad spend. You have to do manual placements, so Facebook and Instagram. We're gonna unselect search results, unselect ads, and we're only gonna do Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, Instagram Stories, Facebook Stories. We're going to take off everything else except Facebook feed, Instagram feed, and there we go. Now we can go into the creative process. So for this, we're gonna label it Indie V1. You're gonna wanna make sure it's running from your personal Spotify. Here at Heavenbound, we're gonna go directly to the partnership ad, so it shows up on Melancholy's Instagram account. Switch identities, first identity only in header. Turn off multi-advertiser ads. Website link, this is where you're gonna go to Submit Hub. You're gonna take the link, paste it. Display link, you have to put at spotify.com. And now we can actually get into the creative process. So we're gonna listen to the song and we're gonna figure out exactly what we want to do for it. The biggest factor in the entire campaign is going to be the creative, right? You can have perfect tracking and perfect campaign structure, but if the creative is boring, people will scroll right past it. For music ads, vertical video is the only way to go. That's 9x16. You can use music video clips, performance footage, a lyric video, a visualizer, behind the scenes footage, or even content that you can pull off of TikTok if it looks strong, right? The first 3 seconds matter the most. People need to understand the vibe fast, and you also cannot rely on just one ad. You need to test multiple creatives, different parts of the song, different hooks, different visuals. Sometimes one creative will perform twice as well as another creative for the exact same song. That is why creative testing is a huge part of music marketing. You're not just advertising the song, you're testing how the market responds to the song.
You are my safe place, you are my home. You'll be right there through how far I roam. Forgave my sins, we're the one to atone. I'll give my whole life.
Alright guys, so now that we've gotten these creatives, it's time to put it into the campaign. So we're just gonna go to our setup creative button here. Video ad, obviously, we're not gonna do image ads. We're going to go to upload and we are going to go to our ads. So I typically recommend around 5 to 10 ads minimum, especially if you're just starting out. You really don't want to do less than 5 ads. Looks like we've got 9 ads here that we're going to be able to test. As you can see, we got multiple different angles. So we've got the Christian indie rock, church on the hill type vibe, tap below to listen. We've got the Midwest emo, Christian Midwest emo, tap below to listen vibe. And then we've got one that just has, the lyrics. So we're really testing a lot of different creative variations here. We're gonna wanna make sure to turn off everything that Meta tries to give us. Now, text, here is the ad copy, right? The ad copy should be simple and direct. You don't wanna write a giant paragraph. The ad should tell the right person why they should listen, right? So for example, new Christian rap for fans of Lecrae, Hovey, and KB. Or if you like emotional worship with a modern sound, this one's for you. Or, independent rock fans, add this to your playlist. The copy gives context, but the creative does the heavy lifting. So we're just gonna write up some copies off the dome here. I definitely recommend using emojis in your ads. It makes it more native to the platform. Call to action, you gotta change that to listen now. Obviously skip the image generation, turn off all the enhancements, do not translate any of the creatives. Now, that is the full setup. So before you launch, double check the entire path, click the ad preview, open the link, make sure the smart link works, make sure Spotify opens correctly, make sure the budget is right, the audience is right. And most people skip this final look over and they waste a lot of money because one small setting is wrong, right? Every single setting here matters. Now launching is not the finish line, launching is only the starting line. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna review. We've got the right link, we've got the right ads. At this point, we can go ahead and click publish. Now after the campaign launches, you still need to manage it. This is where the real work starts. You need to check the metadata and the Spotify data. So inside Meta, you're gonna wanna look at cost per conversion, click-through rate, landing page activity, and which creatives are winning. Inside of Spotify for artists, you're gonna wanna look at listeners, streams, saves, playlist ads, followers, source of streams per listener, and countries. You're really just trying to figure out, if the campaign is breeding real listeners or just cheap traffic. Cheap clicks do not matter if nobody saves the song. A slightly higher cost can be worth it if those listeners are actually following, saving, and coming back. And this is why daily management matters so much. You need to know when to leave the campaign alone, when to turn off a weak ad, when to test a new creative, and when to scale, right? Touching the campaign too much can hurt performance. Ignoring the campaign can waste money. The real skill here is knowing the difference. So that is the basic process for building a music marketing campaign from start to finish. You build the link, you set up the pixel, you choose the conversion event, you build the campaign, you set the budget, you choose the audience, you upload the creative, and then you launch. Then you manage and optimize based on the data. Now, can you do this yourself? Yes, but doing it correctly, consistently, and profitably is where it gets difficult, right? Most artists do not have the time, the budget, or the experience to test everything properly. That is why Heavenbound Music Marketing exists, because you actually save money running a campaign with us rather than doing it yourself. Just like you would spend way more money, laying down the foundation for your house by yourself if you'd never done it before, you would save a lot of money by hiring a professional construction company, right? We already have the systems, we already have the campaign data, we have the warm pixel, and we know what numbers to look for. So if you want to try it yourself and do this full time, use this video as a starting point and keep learning. But if you want a team that already has the infrastructure and knows how to build campaigns designed for real music growth, click the link below and apply to work with Heavenbound Music Marketing. All right, guys, so it's been a couple of days. It's only been 3 days, and the results that we're getting off the bat are already amazing. We're at 19 cents cost per conversion, tier 1, as you can see, for a Christian song. This is something that you can only get here at Heavenbound. It is 20 cents in the United States. We've got 13 cents in Australia and 16 cents in Canada. This doesn't mean that, especially only after $30 spent, that you should get rid of the US and go all into Australia just because it's the cheapest. You really need to get more data before you can decide on what country you're gonna wanna go all in on. Our number one recommendation is to let Meta do that for you. Keep the countries in, don't edit or remove countries unless one of the countries is super high and Meta is for some reason putting a lot of ad spend towards there. 99% of the time you're not gonna have to remove countries, you're just gonna let Meta optimize based on what countries it thinks are best. So yeah, 19 cents cost per conversion is absolutely elite, both for the secular industry and especially for the Christian industry. And then if you go to dynamic creative, we'll go to image and we can see what the top performer is. And then, later on we can make more creatives based off the top performer. Again, it's still pretty early, but we can see Spotify logo, the Midwest vibe, the Brat style lyrics. It's very native. It's very, very native. It fits everything perfectly. It says Spotify, which, you know, lets the algorithm know that it's a song without looking too much like an advertisement. It has the lyrics, it has the vibe. I mean, it's a perfect ad. This just goes to show that you can succeed with Christian music in the ad space. It's really all about that creative. That's it for this video. Subscribe for more marketing breakdowns, and we'll see you in the next one. God bless.